Welcome.
Welcome to episode 2
Yes.
of Social Listening.
And what are we talking about today, Dennis?
Well, firstly, we'd like to say thank you to everyone who's come back to listen to episode 2.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And what are we talking about today? Well, there's no guest on today because it's still July 14 and we've recorded the second episode after the first episode.
Honesty is the best policy.
That's right. We didn't do any outfit changes. Still the same.
Couldn't be bothered. Sorry.
But today we're talking about travel.
Yep.
And Disney or Disneyland.
Now, you have been, like you mentioned in the last episode, a lot of places I'm very jealous of because I have fear of other places like that aren't like the only other place I'd like to go is Japan, which I want you to talk to me a lot about because I love it. And there's one place I think I will go that's not like an English speaking place. But
it's a weird and bizarre place.
Yeah, it looks awesome. And they're very high tech and all that sort of stuff as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So let's start from the beginning. Where was the first place that you went to that you can remember?
That I can remember?
Yeah.
As a kid?
As a kid, yeah.
Queensland.
Really? Did you really? Where did you go? What did you do? Was it like a theme park holiday? Or
no, it was a
beach?
theme park holiday back when I was like 8 or 9. But I think,
Okay.
like you do when you're a kid.
Yeah.
But I really started traveling around 2008.
How old were you?
I was 22, 23.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I met Avril in 2008, my wife. And just after I met her, I left to go to Europe for about 6 weeks with Ash. Ash is going to come on, who's one of our guests.
Yep.
But then when I came back from that, we started traveling. We did a few weekends away. And then in 2009, we went to Koh Samui as our first couples trip for about a week.
Yep.
Which was an interesting one because I said to Avril, hey, you want to hire a scooter and just ride around Koh Samui? And she's like, sure. You ever ridden a bike or a motorbike before? I'm like, yeah, it can't be that hard. So sure enough, about 3 hours into hiring a scooter, I hit a gutter. It was about a foot high. And Avril almost went over the top of me. And I was banned from riding the scooter for the remainder of the trip. You had to go back.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah. But that was Koh Samui 2009. I won't go through every year of where I've been because...
Okay. Well, I sort of know where you've been.
Yeah.
All right. But I want to know the most places that I find interesting that you've been to is Egypt. And you went... How old were you when you went to Egypt?
That was in 2008, so it was a while ago.
Okay, yeah. So it was safer then, yeah?
Well...
Or was it still bad?
Well, here's the thing. So we were on a group tour.
Okay.
And on a big bus going from, I think it was from Port Side where the cruise ships docked because it was like a 4-day adventure from Cyprus. And we went from there to the pyramids and it was about a 3-hour drive and the buses wouldn't stop.
So from Cyprus to...
No, sorry. From once we docked in Egypt, we were then...
The boat, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the boat. Sorry, for the boat.
Yeah.
The buses took us to the pyramids and it was about a 3-hour drive.
Okay.
But their buses didn't stop through lights or anything like
Just
that.
kept going.
They had a police escort.
Is
And
that
I said
right?
to the tour guide, well, what's going on? Why we got a police
who's on board?
escort?
Prince Habibi.
Well, she said no, because a while ago they were blowing up tour buses.
Oh, my God.
Or they were pulling them over and just not hijacking them, but basically robbing them.
Yeah. So that's why they had the police escort. And didn't stop.
all the way through. But pretty amazing. Still one of the highlights of my life, seeing the pyramids.
Did you go underneath the pyramids? Or?
No, I didn't. I'm a little bit claustrophobic in that
so
sense.
but it was open then? Because now they've locked, you can't go in there.
No, it was open. You had to pay to go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because my mate Philip, he's been a few times and he went in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty tight to get in there. But you were really skinny back then. You would have been all right.
Oh, what are you saying?
You would have slid
Listen
in
to
there.
this guy. Episode 2's already throwing insults. Speak for
Sorry,
yourself,
I'm
mate.
saying how skinny you were. I've never been that skinny in my life. When those photos you've got.
Photoshopped.
No, but you seriously didn't go because you were claustrophobic?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is amazing. I mean,
Did your mate go in?
I don't think he went. No.
Okay.
But we went and saw the pyramids. I'm like, you can't even describe it. No photo will describe it. You've got to see them.
Okay. Well, that's one definitely thing that I want to do. Yeah, on my bucket list. That's up there.
Why the pyramids? Or why
Just
Egypt?
Egypt. I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I love it. I love watching documentaries on it. The years ago there was an exhibition in the Melbourne Museum. Went to that, loved it. I just think it's it's fascinating to have a civilization like that back that long ago.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, Egypt was great, but I did get the worst gastro of my life in Egypt.
How was the food? The food in Egypt?
Questionable.
Besides the gastro, was it food poisoning?
It wasn't. It was food poisoning.
Okay.
And again, you're 23. You can eat whatever you want.
Yeah.
You think you'll be fine. Yeah, mate. You're not going to be fine.
Did
copped it, yeah.
On that, is that the worst you've been sick overseas?
Thankfully, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the worst. Thankfully, I haven't needed to go to hospital or anything like that.
Okay.
But our father-in-law did. Do you remember? He had to go
in Thailand.
In Thailand, yeah. He was at some resort and he got a really dodgy neck massage.
That's right.
Yeah. And he spent like 5 days in a Thai
and
hospital.
remember how I was surprised he was saying how clean and how fantastic the hospitals were.
Yeah.
You think he said they're better than the ones here.
And I believe him.
I find, I mean, of course he's not going to lie, but I just think, how is that possible?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where there's, I've never been to Thailand, but I've seen Hangover too. There's rubbish.
You're a cultured man, Stephen. I don't know if I've ever told you, but you're cultured.
There's rubbish on the streets, but anyway, lucky he was all right.
Yeah. But we did go. You and I we've been on a couple of trips together. We did a boys' weekend away in Queensland.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah,
leave it at that.
Yeah, and how long did it take us to do Wet and Wild?
Well, we were there before the doors opened, and we were done within an hour and a half or so.
Yeah,
and that's probably the extent of the trip that we remember.
Yeah, that was fun. TGI's. Oh no,
Hard Rock
Cafe. Yeah, that was funny.
Gosh.
Anyway,
yeah,
that was a long time ago.
That's a long time ago. But you and I, we met up. So your family was away in. Let me refer to my notes here. 2015. You went to Orlando.
That was the first time we went.
Was that the first time you went?
Yeah. Evie was 4.
Yeah.
And we met there. We did a day at Universal and sort of half a day at Magic Kingdom. We sort of met you there. I remember meeting you there, near the Magic Carpet ride. I don't know why I remember that, but yeah. And it was near the Dole Whip. That's right. I rang you. I said, "Where are you?" Yeah. You said, "I'm getting a Dole Whip." So I said, "I'll get one too." And yeah, we met there, and I think we did a few rides after that.
Yeah, and that was a crazy day. I mean, if you've ever been to Florida, or if you haven't been to Florida, you don't know humidity until you get there.
Yeah. Actually, I like it. It was like Queensland. Like I've been to Disneyland a lot more times than Disney World, just because it's we've only been to Orlando twice because it's a massive holiday. Like we need 6 weeks to do it properly and have some breaks in the middle because our kids are younger. I think as they get older.
Just a word of warning: if you're going to cough, let me know. That way I can use the mute button.
If someone offered to get me water, instead of saying you want some water, I said, yes, go and get it. I would have not been choking right now, but
so going back to Disney.
Like that, yeah.
That's my Disney effect.
It just reminds me when you do the magic band to go in, Anyway.
So you've been to Disney. No, you've been to you've been to Disneyland 7 times or to the US?
Disneyland 7 times. So LA, the Anaheim one, and Orlando twice.
Right,
yeah.
And
I've been to Vegas twice.
Right.
Yeah. That's basically our extent.
Oh no, you've been to Hawaii?
Oh yeah, Hawaii, which is great. Yeah, we loved Hawaii. We were going to go back to Hawaii for Amber's 40th, but COVID hit and she just had a fire in the backyard with just us.
Well, there you go.
So she had a ball. And for my 40th, that's what the deal was. My 40th, we went to Orlando and did Star Wars Land, right? And hers was to go to Hawaii and stay at Aulani, which is the Disney resort there, which we loved when we went there.
Hey, do you have shares in Disney?
I actually just sold them.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, well done. You would have done well.
I did well. Yeah, I bought at 109. I think I just sold at 178. So that's pretty good.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and as soon as I sell, of course, they've gone back up to 185. Oh, thank you. No, I mean, look, you're paying back in the old days, believe it or not.
All right, Dad.
This is before, I went as a kid to Disneyland. You could actually, if you were a shareholder of Disney, get discounted tickets.
Yeah, well, I've got shares in cruise companies.
Royal Caribbean,
Royal Caribbean and Carnival, which, people laugh. What would you buy shares in cruise companies? Well, I'll tell you what, mate. When I bought them at $25, check the share price
I know, you do well with that.
But you do get onboard credit to spend if you're a shareholder. You've got to have X amount of shares.
Okay.
But then you get a bunch of little perks, which isn't...
Why not?
Plus a dividend, which is great. But
do they pay out?
They pay out.
Okay.
Well, they didn't last year because, they had a 95% loss.
Yeah. But that's why the shares were what they were. Yeah.
Yeah. You and I, we caught up. Well, Avril and myself and you and the family caught up in in Orlando Universal Studios.
Yeah, we did the full day.
Yeah, Amber was really sick that day.
Yeah, that's right.
And Evie crapped herself, literally.
Yeah. Welcome to traveling with kids.
You spent $50 on Mignon underwear. I believe Mignon.
Mignon. Mignons.
Go on, cough again for us, mate. I can't.
Oh, that's hilarious. $50, but at least we got 5 pairs.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't actually too bad. It wasn't too bad.
Plus
it was US
sales tax.
dollars. Yeah, it was US dollars. But do you remember when it actually happened? We were in the line for the mummy ride. That's when it actually happened. And Evie, look, she didn't poo her pants. She sharted, all right? And poor kid, she was sick as well. Not sick. She was just getting over it. Amber was the one that was still sick.
That's right. She had a chest infection.
Really bad chest infection. Okay, just a tip on that.
Yep.
If you are going to bring antibiotics with you when you're traveling, make sure they're not in your luggage and in a 50-degree car because they need to be stored under, I think it's 25 or 20 degrees.
Cool,
I can't
dry
remember exactly
place.
what it is. Yeah.
Total opposite of where you were.
That's right. So, Amber had those when she started to feel sick, but it made her 10 times worse. And then we had to go to the doctor and do the whole thing. It happened last time as well. We went to Florida. We had to go to the doctor for Evie, but a private cover, so it gives us 2/3 back.
Okay.
Which isn't too bad. And there was no argument. She just said to submit it and you get it, no problem. But yeah, so we did a lot over there.
Yeah, no, that was a good day.
Yeah.
We've
Simpsons Land was awesome too.
On a separate note, when I went to the US in 2013, which was the first time we'd been together, Avril and I, and even myself in general, we went to Six Flags.
Yeah.
And we spent 12 hours at Six Flags. Now, if you don't know what Six Flags is, it's roller coaster heaven, but it's extreme roller coasters.
Ride is a roller coaster. It's great.
It is unbelievable. Yeah. The biggest and craziest roller
coasters.
How
does that make Movie World look? Six Flags.
Like a 7-Eleven.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I've sort of ruined my kids, right? Because now I can't go to Movie World because when we have done that after taking them to Universal Studios, and they're like, what's this crap place? They're like, is that all it is?
Yeah.
I mean, it is small compared to Universal, but I've got to tell you a funny story, actually.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
All right. The trip that we went to when we went to LA when I think Evie was about 7, right?
Right. And is that the 2-week
trip?
We
did a 2-week trip to Disneyland. And I said to her on the build-up, I said, we might have enough points to go business class, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I knew I wanted to save the points for the Florida trip. So we just got the cheap economy seats,
Yep.
Anyway, and all this time she's thinking that we're going to be business class. And I'm showing her YouTube videos of the reviewers and how that, in Qantas it's like it lies flat and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, so we board the plane. You know how when everyone's getting, that feeling.
I do, feeling. Mate.
Yeah.
And I was watching airplane boarding YouTube videos earlier tonight because I was just having one of those nights, but I digress. Carry on.
Anyway, so you know how it's really quiet?
Yeah.
Like everyone's just putting their stuff away, looking for their seat, whatever. Evie stands up, looks around. This isn't business class. Like, what have I done to these little turds?
What have you done, mate?
I know. But we did do premium economy. Which was huge difference for a 15-hour flight. I know you're a business class snob.
I didn't know there were more than 10 rows in an aeroplane.
But I'll tell you what, one thing I did love about premium economy, just even the food that it came in a ceramic bowl. makes us. You think it really wouldn't make that much difference. It makes a massive difference. And then all the food's on separate little plates, not like one foil. It makes a massive difference. It's just that extra little bit of width and leg room in the seats was worth every. Yeah, I mean, look, we use points, but still, it was worth. I mean, we spent 1 million Qantas frequent flyer points to get premium economy return Qantas from Melbourne to LA.
1 million frequent flyer points from Melbourne to LA
For
return
four
for 4
seats.
people, 4 seats.
Yeah.
250,000 each.
For premium economy. Yeah.
I mean, they're there to be spent.
That's right. Yeah. Why
And
not?
you know what? Lucky you spent them.
I know.
Because
What are
I've
they
got
worth
half
now?
$1 million in the bank now that are
You
as
can't
good
use
as...
them.
Yeah.
Well, if you get a vaccine, apparently you get more points.
Oh,
Anyway,
God,
we'll go.
there we go. Listen, if you need
No
to
COVID talk.
if you need to bribe someone, if you need to offer an incentive to get a jab,
Have you heard what they're doing in LA, in California? Like giving away $100 million in prizes,
yeah, I did read that, but
like a lottery. I reckon it's all. Yeah, but anyway, that's another.
that's
topic.
another topic.
Tell me more about where some random places. Oh, Japan. I want to know more about Japan.
Japan was probably the greatest place I've ever been to.
Okay. And you were
And-
planning to go back.
Yeah, I was booked to go back in 2020, or last year.
Yeah.
Because with Singapore business class, you can go Melbourne to Singapore, and then Singapore get a free stopover in Japan before you head to LA.
Is that right? Okay.
So depending on the destination you're going, you'll get a free stopover
Okay.
somewhere, which is great
That's
because
fantastic. Yeah.
we used Japan to break up the trip on the way back
okay.
from
LA.
yes, from LA.
Okay.
So that way, it kind of helps you adjust a little bit with the time difference.
Yeah. Do you know what the time difference is between Japan and
3
America?
hours.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when I was there in September,
Okay.
was 3
All right,
hours.
Okay.
but I stayed at 2 different hotels. I stayed in Shinjuku, which is like your kind of main tourist area. There's a couple of them, but one at the Hotel Gracery was the first hotel, and that was the Godzilla Hotel. And on the top of that hotel is a huge Godzilla statue, and every hour he roars.
No way.
It is the coolest thing in the world.
How come I've never heard of that before? That's the first time you told me that.
Really? That is. I must show you some photos.
Oh, yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah.
That's
Huge
great.
Godzilla. Every hour you hear this.
But is it like one of those tacky looking paper mache looking ones?
No,
or is it
mate.
a proper Godzilla?
No, it's a proper Godzilla.
Oh, my God,
It's
okay.
a proper Godzilla. You would think it was Mr. G himself.
Oh, Godzilla!
Godzilla. And then afterwards, and this is how big Tokyo is. We stayed again in Shinjuku, but in a different side of it.
Okay.
And we stayed at the Hilton in Tokyo.
Okay.
And the one thing that I'm pretty notorious for is the ability to get upgrades and free stuff at hotels.
Yeah, now this I've heard.
Yeah, this you've heard. You've heard
And
me.
so is everyone that knows you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, for the one person who hasn't heard the story,
Yeah.
I booked a basic room at the Hilton.
Yeah.
And by basic, it wasn't cheap. It was about $400 a night. But I was a Hilton Diamond member at the time. And that was because when you're Velocity Platinum, you get given a Hilton membership, and then you can stay to basically up your status tier.
Okay.
Right? The more nights you stay, the higher the tier.
Yep.
So I was the highest tier, and I still am, Diamond member at the Hilton.
Yep.
I checked in. Well, before the checking in, I sent him an email saying it's my wife and it's our anniversary.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we could just do something little to celebrate and surprise my wife. I was expecting a bottle of champagne or maybe some chocolates.
Can I just quickly ask you, how many anniversaries did you have that year?
Oh, that year. Yeah. That was
4
a
or
big
5,
year.
was it?
Well, actually, yeah, that was about 4 or 5. Yeah. Yeah, because that same year, I went to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
It's same type of thing.
Anniversary?
Yeah, anniversary.
Anyway, go on. Yeah. So the Hilton.
Yeah, so I check in and I said to the garçon at the counter, I said, hey, it's Diamond member. It's my anniversary. He goes, oh, yes. I go, look, it's our anniversary. He goes, I'll see what I can do. He goes, look, you get a free upgrade with your membership anyway, but I'll see what I can do anyway. He's doing what he's got to do. And he goes, look, I can give you one of basically the sub penthouses. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I just got a text from Avril saying 1 hour time difference should be 2 hours daylight savings.
Okay.
Okay. So I stand corrected, apparently.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, it's a good. I should
how is she
Google that.
listening is my second question.
We must be louder than we think.
Yeah. So he goes, I've got you the sub penthouse.
Yeah.
We get up there and it was huge. And it was a couple of $1,000 a night. for this room. But yeah, we had our own bathroom each and our own dresser each.
At that level, do you still need to pay for minibar?
You must be Maltese.
Really? So I'm guessing, yes, you have to pay for minibar. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought being a diamond member, you might get a discount.
Well, you do.
Instead of paying $50 for Mars bar or something.
No, you get a couple of bottles of complimentary water every day.
Okay.
But you also get access to the executive lounge, which is basically all you can eat and all you can drink all day.
Oh my God.
So I didn't see anything of Tokyo.
Yeah, just on the minibar, I have to quickly tell you this story that with kids, especially little kids, when the slow motion run, when you see them lift off the pressure plate, the drink off the pressure plate.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, yeah, parents would understand that have traveled that, and you have to warn them, don't touch anything from the minibar. Anyway, yes, I am Maltese. Go on.
But yeah, Tokyo, Japan. The sights. It's a sensory overload. It's the only way to describe it.
Yeah,
the sounds, the smells.
Have you been to Singapore?
I have been to Singapore a few times.
How do you compare Japan? Are they totally different?
Singapore is a tame version. It's
so it's not out
It's
there.
an introverted version of Japan.
Okay, but the tech levels and all that is sort of the same.
Well,
technology, or is it more weird?
No, it's much more weird and wacky in Japan.
Okay, that's what I want to
anime
see.
is the craziest thing there. Video games. I mean, gosh, it is just crazy.
Did you go to that forest that apparently a lot of people suicide there? Did you go and have a look?
It took a dark turn.
No, but apparently it's a big tourist attraction.
No.
Did you know about it?
No.
Okay. Well, there's a documentary on it. Where apparently, because there's a huge suicide rate in Japan
because of the hours that they work, the salarymen.
Yeah. And you see, they go to that forest.
Yep.
So I mean, I wouldn't go
and
there. But
sorry,
there's a few YouTubers that have been. And anyway,
it is interesting at night. You see all the salarymen knock off work at 8, 9, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
They just get absolutely annihilated at the bars, and
because to cope, basically,
just to cope. It is crazy. Yeah. But Japan, highly recommend it. The food.
So how long did you stay in Japan last time?
It was about 8 or 9 days.
Okay.
And we walked away feeling like we saw absolutely none of it because and that was just Tokyo.
Okay.
So this trip we had about 2 weeks booked.
Yeah.
But we didn't get around to going.
Okay. And the trip that you were going to book, you were going to go to Rio as well, weren't you, in Brazil?
No, that was on the list to get there, but the trip that we were going to go to was LA to see some friends.
Yep.
And then we're going to cruise, then fly to Cuba.
Okay.
Then Jamaica.
Have you been to Jamaica?
I have been to Jamaica. Yeah. Strange place.
Is that where the what do you call them? The stingrays were jumping on your back? Was that Jamaica or was that Caribbean?
That was in the Caribbean, but that was the stingrays on the back was in Antigua.
Where's that?
In the Caribbean.
Oh, okay. Okay. Do you have any interest going to Florida, down the bottom end of Florida, Key West, down there? Do you have any interest in going down there?
Where Bloodline was filmed. Yeah.
Because you can stay there.
If anyone hasn't seen Bloodline on Netflix,
definitely see it.
It's 3 seasons. Please watch it.
It's great, yeah.
Great show.
Yeah.
I'd like to go there, but the US is a very strange place, especially as I've really got into my politics as of late.
Yeah.
It's a...
Well, speaking of that, let me tell you a funny story. The second time we went to Orlando, I wanted to go to NASA again, all right? So I put in the GPS NASA and we went. And I mean, look, I've got a pretty good memory and I sort of was like, I don't remember going down this way last time because it was like taking me into these like little towns. And I'm not joking, almost every second house had a Trump flag on it, right? It was during the election, all right?
Oh, right, okay.
Had a Trump flag. And that was fine. It was actually good to see that, right, during that time. But I went driving and I'm like, this is in the middle of nowhere. This. So anyway, all I see is like this little shed, like a barrier with an army guy, right?
All right. Okay.
And I rock up and I go, hi, I'm here to see NASA. And he goes, you're in the wrong area, sir. I'm like, is this Area 51? And he's like, no. And he had a little piece of paper with instructions on how to get back to the visitor center.
Wow.
So obviously it must happen a lot where they have to turn people away.
Yeah.
But it was like the back end where maybe their VIPs or whatever going through.
Right.
All the astronauts or whatever the employees go through. But yeah, that was fun. And the same thing actually happened to me again with the Warner Brothers studio tour that we did in LA.
All right.
Right. So again, I put it in Warner Brothers Studios tourist thing, and it takes me into the gates where the production people go into, and I hired a Range Rover Sport, so it didn't look out of place, right? So anyway, I rock up, and he goes, "Hey, sir, how can I help?" And I said, yeah, I'm here for the Warner Brothers tour. He goes, man, you're already here. He goes, do you? You're in the wrong spot. I'm like, oh, such a Griswold moment. Do you know what that is, Griswold?
Yeah.
National Lampoons.
National Lampoons.
Yeah.
I have seen National Lampoons, and I think I think they're very funny. Chevy Chase
he's
was
classic.
great.
Yeah.
I did like the cousin.
Cousin Eddie.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
I love Cousin Eddie. So where? Give me another obscure place that you've been to.
So I went to, it's not really obscure, but mainland China, a place called Guangzhou where a lot of the manufacturing comes out of.
Okay, yeah. Oh, well, you went to one of those.
I went to a trade fair back in a few years ago, the Canton Fair, which is one of the largest trade fairs in the world.
How big we talking here?
It was...
Use Jeff Shed as an example.
Oh, Jeff Shed.
How many of those?
It was probably 8 or 9 of those in terms of lengthwise.
Okay.
Right? So from one end to the other.
Yeah.
Of just different manufacturers and supplies broken down in different industries.
Okay.
Incredible. But that was Guangzhou is definitely not a tourist destination.
Okay.
Look, there's a few nice hotels there.
Did they do the hard sell on you like they do here?
Nah.
Like if you walk past, are they like trying to give you leaflets and all that sort of stuff?
No, and there's no free samples or anything like that. No.
Okay.
But I did get one of the times so I've been to Shenzhen a few times, which is just over the Hong Kong border into mainland China.
Is that where the like mini Vegas is?
No, that's Macau.
Okay.
But I have been
there. But you've been
a few
there
times,
too, haven't you? Yeah.
Macau's an interesting place. It's just gambling and that's it. I mean,
yeah,
it's all it is.
Just like
casinos.
Vegas.
Yeah, but without the fun side of it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Shenzhen, I've been there a few times and I used to go there to buy stuff, bring it back and sell it.
Yep.
And the last time I was there, we were crossing over and I got to immigration and they looked at my passport, they swiped it a few times and they said, and of course I didn't understand what they're saying. And they took my passport.
Oh, crap. Yeah.
And they basically took me to the side in some little hidden area.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what's wrong? What's the problem?
Did they put rubber gloves on?
Well,
Let's not go there yet.
not yet. That's probably episode 9 for you.
That's right. Let me build up.
We'll finish the season with a pop.
Yeah. Go on, yeah. And they took you aside?
Took me aside, and of course they're saying all sorts of words to me, and I don't understand what they're saying.
Mm.
Anyway, about half an hour later, they give me my passport, and it's like, go, go, go.
Yeah.
So I reckon there's probably another 100 Dennis M's out there because they've copied my passport or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, I went to...
So you didn't know why they did it?
No idea.
They just said, go.
Yeah. And you got no... You're nothing there. You're one of another million stupid tourists.
Oh, God. Well, it's funny. The first time I actually went to Malta once when I was 18.
Yeah.
So I flew there with my parents, but because I had to work, I then flew back by myself.
Right.
And they stayed in Malta for another 2 months or whatever it was. But that was actually a good learning experience for me. 18, never traveled by myself before. Having to basically go Malta, Athens, Dubai, and then Singapore and Melbourne again.
On your own?
Yeah, on my own, and had to change planes and all that sort of stuff. So I learned a fair bit. It was actually a really good experience. And I'll never forget in Dubai seeing the the customs officers there. They're army guys basically with Uzis on them.
Yeah.
And I was crapping my pants because I thought, I'm 18. I don't know what they're gonna think. Carrying anything, whatever. Anyway, so I'm like this shaking, putting my bags in. And they're laughing at me. Whatever they were saying. Look at this idiot. And then it was funny that post that you put on Facebook today about how at Melbourne Airport they're carrying weapons like that. Yeah. It just brought back. Yeah. I thought, okay, is that what it's coming to now? But anyway,
intimidation tactics.
Yeah.
So it's funny you said that about Malta. The first time I went to Malta was in 2010, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it was great. But I was too immature to appreciate it. But anyway.
But the one thing I noticed was the amount of development that was happening. Now, if anyone's obviously Maltese but appreciates Malta, follow the page Ugly Malta on Instagram.
Okay.
And you'll see the amount of overdevelopment and poor planning that's taking place.
Really? Okay. Because it's all briberies, that's why.
Well, that's right. So I went there in 2010, then I went there again in 2017. And the amount of high rises that were going up, it reminds me of Melbourne in the way that it's just being decimated by high rises.
Okay.
And just really poor planning, terrible infrastructure. And Malta's not a big place.
So if they don't organise it properly, it's going to be a bit of a schmozzle, really.
Yeah, it is a schmozzle. And it's quite sad to see how much it's been ruined.
Yeah. The one thing that really stuck out for me was the Maccas. I don't know if you remember. There was one Maccas that they had.
That's what stood out to me in all of Malta. The hundreds of years.
I told you, I was immature and stupid. There was a Macca's with the best view I've ever seen. Do you remember that one? It was like high up. It was basically right on the edge of a cliff, and the ocean was like from a Macca's. The other one that I remember was a TGI Fridays. It was actually in a castle. I don't know. I don't think it was there when you were there. It was in Sliema, and it was actually in a castle. It was some very unique things in Malta. And hearing kids with a Maltese accent, I found that hilarious.
In all the travels I've done, it is very, very funny hearing children speak because of the accents, but the Maltese accent especially, which just sounds like all the old wogs sitting in the shopping centre.
Yeah, I remember catching a taxi. For those of you that don't know, Malta is a very small country. You can drive from one end to the other in half an hour, right? Yeah. Anyway, and we caught a taxi from the airport to our where we were staying, and I remember getting on the freeway. Basically, had one exit. That was it. It's like, why bother having a freeway in Malta?
Yeah,
it takes half an hour. Anyway, and there was one guy telling me, I'll never forget, they give driving instructions, and they talk about the speed hump, because there's only one in Malta.
One speed hump.
It's because of concrete. It's put concrete on the road. You'd go left at the hump. That's how they give directions. But anyway, any other places that, before we finish up, that you think really stuck out?
Yeah, and probably not for the right reason. There's a few places I've been to that are totally overrated. Okay. Copenhagen was one of them. I didn't get the hype.
You didn't mention Oktoberfest. Come on.
I haven't got there yet.
Okay, well, you need to, because we're running out of time.
Are we? With the SD card getting full?
Okay.
No, we're at 33 minutes, man.
Okay, all right, go.
Copenhagen was very overrated. I didn't understand the hype of it.
Okay.
Beautiful, nice streets, but that's about
Canada, you got some awesome photos of Canada and that blue water.
Yeah.
What is that called?
Yeah, so we stayed in Banff, and then we went to Lake Louise and Moraine Lake as well. We had a car, so we drove around everywhere. And Canada, awesome place. And
so you went to Canada, and did you do then hot climate as well? So did you pack for freezing and for hot?
Yeah, so on that trip, and luckily I wrote this out. So that trip was in 2016. So we went to Seattle, which again was overrated.
Okay. Was there anything there?
No, just nothing really. Yeah. Okay. There was the music museum, which was really cool.
Okay.
I did appreciate that. Then we went to Banff. Yep. So, Seattle was pretty cold. Banff was cold. We went to Vancouver, which was like Melbourne. But then we went from Vancouver, flew down to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So you're literally jumping over the mainland of North America.
Yeah.
And then, then we cruised around the Caribbean, and then we went to Vegas. So, yes, we had to pack for hot and cold, and it was absolutely freezing, and it was still September. So, to them, it was warm.
It was freezing.
Yeah, but I'm spewing that we haven't had a chance to go back to Canada because there's so much more I want to see and do there.
Okay.
Um,
Would you go to Alaska? Any interest to go to Alaska?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or even to see the Northern Lights, like that sort of thing. Are you interested in that?
I want to go to the other, like Quebec, the other side of Canada.
Okay, yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Can you see the Northern Lights from there? Or
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
Anyone know? Social listening podcast at gmail.com.
I think it's Norway. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think from Norway they have like those, like they're like glass sort of cabins. So then you could sleep and see the Northern Lights. But yeah, that is one thing I definitely want to do. Or igloos, I think it was. Yeah,
okay. The one thing about Norway, I haven't been there, but I believe it's Norway where up until around 4 or 5 a.m. it's still daylight.
Yeah. That would be weird.
I'm a huge fan of metal, and Metallica played there, and they played there at like 10 o'clock at night. It was daylight. It was the weirdest thing to see.
Because they're so high up, that's why, because of the roundness. Anyway.
The roundness. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We will talk about Flat Earth another episode.
Another episode.
But no, look, 40 odd countries we've been to, plenty of cities.
Yeah.
Standout of experiences would be Oktoberfest itself in Munich. Yeah. Probably one of the highlights of my life, I would say.
What did you wear?
Did you tell the lederhosen? Yeah. I wore the lederhosen, and Avril purchased a dirndl from there. I hired the lederhosen, but it was that comfortable I didn't return it. They could keep my bond because it was a cash bond.
I had to get him out of it just for this podcast. I rocked up with his lederhosen. What the hell are you doing? We'll do a German episode and we'll both dress up.
The one thing, we went to Oktoberfest the last time before it was cancelled because of COVID. So if you ever go, and if it's ever on again, take a lot of money because it's very, very expensive.
Really? Okay. Oh, well, I can imagine accommodation during that time as well.
Oh, man, accommodation. We had to stay out of the town, out of the city, basically. And it was still $300 a night for a terrible place. Really? Yeah, it was just so expensive.
Wait, so how long would it take to get from that hotel to the
it was about a half an hour trip or something like that.
So you just Uber it? Or?
No, we caught the train.
Oh, you got the train?
Yeah. So the two things we do everywhere we go is the first day we do a walking tour or a food tour, probably more a food tour.
Yeah.
And we try and catch public transport where we can, just because I think you see a little bit more.
Yeah.
There's places where you got to hire a car because there's no public transport. Yeah. But yeah, a walking tour or a food tour on the first day is probably my biggest tip I can give anyone if they travel, because you find out where you are, you find out a bit of history.
Now, there's one more story I want you to tell, because it's my favourite. And it's when you went, was it the Grand Canyon? Where was it? I don't know where it was, but you were in a canoe.
Oh, my gosh.
Where was that again? Oh, my gosh.
Yes, that was in the Colorado River.
Yeah, so it was around the Grand Canyon, yeah?
So that was actually on that trip. Yeah, that's right. That's 2016.
Yeah. I'm actually really impressed that you did that.
So... As I mentioned,
and didn't drown.
We went to Seattle, Banff, Vancouver, Puerto Rico, cruised around the Caribbean, and then went to Vegas. So there was a lot of food. There's a lot of food at the best of times, let alone where I'm traveling. But before we went on that holiday, Avril and I said, let's do something different when we go to Vegas. So I jumped on TripAdvisor and I found kayaking, small group kayaking through the Grand Canyon on the Colorado River. And I thought, that's pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, it is cool. Are you glad you did it though?
Yeah, I am glad I did it now.
But during it.
But we thought, there was a couple of options. You could book a 5 kilometer kayak. And I thought, what are you going to see 5 kilometers? I said, or there was the 20-mile kayak, which was about, 12 or so kilometers.
Oh, it's more. 20 miles is like 30, 35 Ks, isn't it? Don't worry, Avril will send you a text.
Yeah, she'll send me a text. Anyway, it was very, very long.
Yeah.
Was she saying something?
No, I thought I heard something.
Anyway, it was a 4:30 a.m. pickup.
Yeah.
From the hotel, with a 2-hour or 3-hour drive to Arizona.
Yeah.
And then we had to pass all these different clearances because it was a very well secured area. We had to load the canoe or the kayaks into the water, and then it was freezing, right? And mind you, I'm on an empty stomach, even though I've been eating for 3 weeks.
Were you in wetsuits or anything?
No, man. No wetsuit. No. We had like water shoes on or whatever they're called.
Yeah. And it was freezing.
It was freezing, man. It was cold.
Yeah.
And then, it was about a 5 or 6 hour kayak. And about 5 hours in, I'm like, I'm done. I can't do this. I'm finished.
Was it all smooth or was there a bit of rapids going?
It was absolutely, it was dead flat.
Oh, was it? And he was still tired.
But you don't understand. I've never kayaked in my life.
It would be hard.
I've never kayaked in my life. I've been eating for the last 3 weeks and drinking. And this guy's telling me, okay, how much more to go, mate?
So was it individual kayak or you and Avril in one?
No. She refused to go in one with me because
so you could have done
she could predict what was going to happen.
And she would have to tow your ass.
Yeah. So I said to the guy, mate, I don't care what it costs. Call someone to tow me. I'm done. Okay. Helicopter me out of here.
Yeah.
And so he latches me onto his kayak. And I'm sitting there like absolutely wiped.
Oh my god, that's hilarious! But so, how much of it did you pedal yourself?
I did 95% of it.
95%, okay, and the rest he towed you.
Yeah, but to be honest, it was incredible because it was dead still, dead quiet.
That would be awesome. I'd love to do that. So what time of day was the? Oh, you would have been there all day.
No, it was all day.
Yeah. So you got there early in the morning.
Yeah, we got there at about 6:37 a.m.
Okay.
We got back to the hotel about 5 or 6 p.m.
Okay. Jeez, you would have been wrecked that
So
night.
what happened that night? I'll tell you what
Bed?
happened. We went and demolished more McDonald's than I've ever eaten in my life. And that was at around 5:30ish because the bus dropped us off and we went straight to Macca's.
Yeah.
Got back to the hotel, had a shower about 6:30. So we
went
said,
out to dinner.
Well, we said let's have a couple of hours sleep and then we'll head out.
Yeah.
I kid you not. We fell asleep about 6:30. We didn't wake up till 10 a.m. the next day. And we wake up and go, what happened? We lost the whole night in Vegas.
Exercised all day.
I was done, brother. I've never slept that much in my life. And then I couldn't walk.
Did you have like blisters or anything on your hand from the thing?
No, it was my shoulders.
Your shoulders.
My shoulders, yeah.
Well, imagine if you did it like before a flight the next day. You would have been stuffed.
Yeah, we would have been. We had a couple of days left.
Okay, so to recover.
Yeah, and then, that's right. And then on our last night in Vegas, we went to Old Vegas.
Oh, yeah, where Golden Nugget is and all that.
Yeah, that's right.
Fremont Street, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Fremont Street, which is, interesting place.
Yeah.
You ever been?
No, because we've had the kids both times and it just didn't look safe for us to take.
What's the story with kids in Vegas? Can they walk through?
Yeah, they can walk through. I mean, there's shows. Like we did Lion King, all the Cirque du Soleil shows. So you can walk through. They just can't stop and watch it. The security guards come and tell them to move on.
So you bring up a good point. We watched a show there called Absinthe, which if you're ever in Vegas, I highly recommend you go. Yeah. It's a basically like Cirque du Soleil.
Okay.
Mixed,
with a raunchy one, is it?
No, it's acrobatics as well, and it's really cool stuff. But the equivalent of that in Australia is called Pink Flamingo in the Gold Coast.
Okay.
So go to Pink Flamingo in the Gold Coast, and they've got one of those shows, and it's so cool.
Oh, you went to that one?
I went to there. Back in March, where we thought we'd get away, and we lasted 2 nights because the rain was so bad.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
But it was just
Well, the best Cirque show there, in Vegas was O.
Is that the Beatles one?
No. That one is the one. It's a water show. So basically, there's a platform, but then the platform sort of opens up, and there's a humongous pool on stage. And they're doing dives and backflips, and that was the best. But I've got really good memories of that show.
Yeah,
because being in Vegas, there was this young party girl next to me that was falling asleep through the whole thing.
Yep.
Until then, everyone starts clapping. She's like, "Oh, clapping," and then when she goes back to sleep, then next scene, I'm floating. I was laughing every time she did it. It was so funny. She almost fell asleep on my shoulder. She was that gone, but. Yeah, I love Vegas. It's great.
Vegas is a strange place. The last time I was there was with some friends in LA, and he had some pretty good connections at a hotel off strip at the Marriott.
Yeah.
So we were able to stay.
I thought you stayed at an MGM.
No, that was the first time.
Oh, okay.
The last time I was there, and we stayed off strip at the JW Marriott. Again, he was able to hook us up with a penthouse, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
But it was an off strip casino, and it was really like.
Rough, was it?
Not rough, but it was real. It was locals. There was no tourists there.
Yeah.
So you'd go and grab a meal, and they had like the midnight special from midnight to 6 a.m.
$2.
Yeah. They're $1.99 midnight special,
like
the graveyard special. Sorry, that's what it was called, graveyard special.
Yeah. Give me some of the yellow of the buffet.
I love Vegas. It's a strange place. The US is a strange place as well, but you can't help but love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Did you ever eat a turkey leg at Disneyland?
I did, and it was so full of sinew.
terrible.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
I didn't, and it was like $15 or whatever. And I'm like,
plus tax.
I can't eat this. I had to throw it out.
Yeah. And I mean, just before we finish up, I know we were supposed to finish up a while ago, but we can talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
You and we went to Simpsons World in Universal Studios.
Yeah.
And we went
Krusty Burger. Moe's Tavern.
We went to Moe's Tavern.
Yeah.
We had a Krusty Burger.
Yeah.
Which was
disgusting.
Something in a blender.
There's some juice in my mouth.
And
that's exactly how
very,
it was.
very good Krusty impersonation. I have to.
Okay. All right. What about the love machine? The love tester. Come on, that was good.
Yeah. And we had that Buzz Cola, which was like
did we go for the Flaming Moe's? Or we didn't do that one?
No.
I tried the Flaming Moe's when I went last time.
How was it?
It tastes like cordial.
Yes. It's $34.
Yeah, that's right. Cotties. It was Cotties.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was Universal's great. That's one of my favourite parks. I love it. Like, there's a lot of new stuff there at the moment.
The cost of these parks is incredible.
Yes, I've got a funny story on that one as well.
Yeah, see?
Look. Okay, I'll be quick.
No, don't be quick because, this is stories.
So basically with Universal, you have to pay for your ticket to get in.
Yep.
But they also have this, you know what it is, like a jump the queue pass, right?
Yep.
So I went, we had 3-day tickets when we went last. And I said to the guy, because they like to have a little kiosk at the front and then to buy these passes. And I said, okay, how much for the 3 days for 4 of us?
Yep.
And he goes, $350. I'm like, that's not bad. I'll do that instead of waiting in queues all day. And that was per day, per person, right?
Yep. So
for 3 days to get the front of line pass, it was like $3,000, right? And we're like, this is just to skip the lines, right? And we did it. I'm like, you know what? Stuff, I don't want to be waiting in lines all day.
Yep.
And it does. It makes the holiday much more fun, right?
Well, you can do more and you've got more energy because you're not spending your time standing in line.
Yeah, because the longest line, they just released a new Hagrid Harry Potter roller coaster there. And
Haggis.
Hagrid.
Oh, Hagrid.
Hagrid. And Haggis. And the pass didn't include that ride because it was new.
Right.
So we still waited in that one. We waited for 2 hours or 2.5 hours on that one because we had to do it. It was new. We actually waited twice. That's how good it was. But the longest we waited was in Animal Kingdom for this Avatar ride. We waited 3.5 hours.
No, you didn't.
We did with the kids.
Oh,
we
my
waited
gosh.
3.5 hours. And then Evie loved it that much. We did it again that day and we waited another 3 hours. 3.5 hours. And the queue's that bad that you can smell piss all along the way, right? Because people don't want to leave their spot to go to the toilet. And it's apparently a massive problem. So they had to install toilets along the way.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, because we smell. We saw a little kid taking a piss in the corner, just on the floor. And it's horrible, right? There was certain sections of it that really reeked.
3.5 hours.
Yeah,
I mean,
the ride was worth it.
Was it worth it?
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
I think the most we waited was an hour and a half for like cars or something like that. And I'm like, never again, mate.
No.
But 3.5 hours.
We played Heads Up a lot because when you're in the Disneyland park, they give you all these Disney packs for free while you're in there. It's obviously for that reason. And even on the app, they have like games you can play that relate to that ride just to pass the time. I have to say, like, if we didn't have phones or whatever there, it would have been a lot harder to wait 3.5 hours. But the kids were troopers, seriously. They didn't whinge once.
Right.
Which made things
you'd
easier.
bloody hope not, mate, considering.
I know. Especially it was the second time Evie wanted to go on it again.
Yeah.
Because it was basically flying on one of those Banshee things in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
And, I got so emotional on that ride.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if it's because I waited for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I was just happy. I'm sitting down. But yeah, it got you. There was one scene that it's just the music's going and you're flying on this thing. It was amazing, man.
Look, I think you love it that much
I
because
do.
it's like an escape.
Oh
right?
yeah, Disneyland. That's why everyone asks me, why do you love it so much? It's because it is. It's an escape. You don't think of anything when you're there. You don't think of work. You don't think of any family, politics, or whatever you're going through, or people work, whatever. You just don't think of anything.
We will get into the dark side of Disneyland in another episode.
Yeah, that's under the conspiracy theory episode, I think.
Oh, well, like I said to you, Stephen, the difference between a conspiracy theory and a fact these days is about 6 months.
All right, let's end it there.
No, but you know what? At the end of the day,
we could talk for hours on travel. So
look, whether you've been to one place 100 times or 2 places and that's it, mate, these are all memories that we take for granted to an extent. Because,
that's right.
You know, Avril and I were saying that, gosh, we wish we did this and we wish we did that. And then our other friend, Amy, would say, be happy that you've been to where you've been.
You're lucky you've been to a lot of those places.
Yeah.
A lot of people that don't even have the opportunity yet, even if you got the money.
Yeah, that's right. You can't go. Yeah, passport is the most useless document. Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But on that, I was going to say, I think that with you not being able to travel, it's made you. It definitely must have made you appreciate where you've been a lot more than before, because you're always planning your next one and didn't really reflect much on the others. Yeah. Where now that's all you've got.
Yeah, you're right. And I mean, on this piece of paper, I've written down where I've been.
Yeah.
Every year, and I mean, not just for the podcast, but just for our own knowledge.
So good
and it is amazing, mate. I mean,
it is.
And a lot of people.
It's a big achievement, man.
Yeah.
To do it in business class as well.
Well, let me tell you something, Stephen. Yeah, you know, you do what you got to do to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's good, mate.
But on that note, I think we've covered off everything. You know what? This isn't supposed to be scripted. We've probably jumped off topic 100 times or digressed, but you know, it is what it is. If you don't like it,
it's a conversation, Dennis.
You know what? People sit here saying, make sure you subscribe. If you don't like it, don't watch it. I don't care, right?
And on that note,
but if you do have anything to say, social listening podcast at Gmail and social listening podcast on Instagram. Yeah. We'll be back with the next episode.
And we'll have a guest on. And we won't tell you what it's going to be about until the next episode.
That's right.
Leave it a surprise.
Yep. So on that note, thank you very much, everyone.